Hey everyone, it's Emma, and welcome back to the Make Time podcast. Today, Helen and I are so excited to welcome Jessamyn Stanley. She's a yoga teacher, author, and a powerful voice for self-acceptance. In this conversation, we talk about what it really means to make time for yourself in a world that's constantly telling women who they should be. Jessamyn reminds us that every single person deserves to be seen, valued, and treated with grace, exactly as they are. We get into self-care, starting a yoga practice at home without pressure or perfection, and why prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish, it's essential. This is a grounding, honest, and empowering conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear it. So let's make time for Jessamyn. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Make Time podcast. And we are so excited to welcome Jessamyn to the podcast. Welcome, Jessamyn. We would love to hear about you and what you do and what brings you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Truly, I am grateful. My name is Jessamyn Stanley. I'm a yoga teacher and an author. I'm the author of the books Everybody Yoga and Yoke, My Yoga of Self-Acceptance. I call myself a yoga teacher because that's the easiest thing to say to the IRS, but truly I am a yoga practitioner. I live the practice of yoga, and I have been lucky enough to be a co-founder of the app, The Underbelly. We are a community of wellness practitioners who are just trying to find a way to calm every single day, regardless of what's going on in your life or what you look like. We specifically want to make sure that there's always space for people who are often marginalized by the traditional health and wellness industrial complex. So we definitely cater our classes to people who are fat, queer, old, anything disabled, anything that you have been taught to be ashamed of is what we celebrate at the Underbelly. And we focus on yoga and meditation. We have over 200 yoga classes, and it just is the coolest place on the internet to practice yoga. But yeah, that's who I am. That's what I do. And I can say a lot more about like how I got to be here, but I think that kind of covers the early basis.
Awesome. I love the everybody, right? I think it's just so important because, every body was born with the right to move and be. And I think it's just so beautiful. So thank you for your good work that you're doing there.
I think really so much of the Underbelly came out of my own experience of feeling like there just was not space for me anywhere. Like I go out to yoga classes and there was no one who looked like me. I didn't see teachers that looked like me. But the thing that's really interesting to me is that no matter what you look like, no matter what your body looks like, there's just a desire to be seen and witnessed and just feel necessary. And every single human being is necessary. And then the other piece that I think is really interesting is that we are all always changing. So being able to just accept that like your body looks different today than it did 10 years ago, and that it looks different today than it will look 10 years from now is like, and that it does different things. Celebrating that. I love that for all humanity. So I'm excited to be a part of that, frankly.
I love it. Okay. So tell us, Jessamyn, what do you think the most important thing is for women to make time for and why?
Oh my goodness. I think the most important thing for women to make time for is themselves. I think the most important thing that you can do is take time for yourself. We, as people who are assigned women at birth, as assigned female at birth, we are not socialized to believe that we have worth or that just our mere existence matters. And taking that time, I think that self-care is so just that as a concept is, I think, kind of overblown. And it seems like it's hard to find that time for yourself. And it can seem really selfish and really who is this for? How is this actually helpful to the world? And the reality of the situation is that there are so many systemic issues that we have to heal as a collective, and none of that can happen if we don't heal on an individual level. So it's so necessary every single day, even if it's just literally the time you have on the toilet when the kids are not in the room with you and you just take a deep breath, that time is helping everybody. And so just believing that you have worth, putting yourself first, putting your oxygen mask on first, I think that's the most important thing that women can do.
I mean, you're speaking our language. So, at our Make Time Wellness, we've banned the use of the word or term self-care, because I just think, like what you said, it's just been overused. The beauty industry has kind of like taken control of it. Hence why we make time. So for us, it's about, making time. What do we want to make time for? What will feed our soul? And is it 10 minutes on the toilet to take a deep breath? Then maybe that is exactly what it is. It doesn't have to be, a 90-minute massage. I mean,
No.
it could be if you wanted it to, but it could be, just getting outside in the garden, feeling the sun on your face, something simplified that like talks to you.
It's the most simple things that make the biggest difference. It's literally that moment. I thought the going out to the garden is such a great example. And even I think having a garden can be like, that's luxurious. Like just being able, like if you have a plot of grass on your block, find that. Even just like going for a walk, even if no matter what surroundings you're in, being able to remember that you are not a machine, that you're not a computer, that you have worth beyond the people that need you, that yes, you have children, you have people that love you, there are people that need you. You as an individual is important for them. So just taking that moment to like, just reconnect with yourself. And yeah, it's sick when it can be a 90-minute massage. I'm really aiming for like a 90-minute massage plus sauna plus steam room. That's me. But like that might not be, it's not always possible. Just even when you want it to be, it's not always the thing.
Yeah. So, for our listeners, if you could really give them 3 actionable tips on what you think is so important for them to make time for themselves.
Okay. I have about 10 million tips, but I'm going to try to make them all fit into 3. The biggest thing I think is to actually schedule the time for yourself. And not everyone is a Virgo or has prominent Virgo placements, but just to consider how helpful it is to actually carve that time out for yourself. Like literally put it on your calendar the exact same way that you would that you schedule anything in, a meeting, emptying the dishwasher, whatever the thing is, write in, you can just put me time, 5 minutes, because then you won't forget to do it. It makes it easier to keep on your list. The second thing I think is to figure out something that is literally like a manageable thing that you can do. Don't be like, every day I'm going to do 30 minutes of yoga. Like, are you really? And that's no shade. This is as someone who who aspires to practice yoga every day. I need for it to be a little bit more simple than that. So being able to say like, it's enough that I went outside. It's enough that I walked around the block. That's plenty. That's enough. And maybe it's not, I'm talking about all of these like active movement things, because I would advocate for something that you do to be movement. I think that is helpful, but that's not a thing for everybody. Maybe your me time is reading a magazine or like watching a TV show, binging. Maybe you have a show that you love that you just are not making the time to watch. Set aside, schedule that in, and make sure that it's something that's manageable. And then you will actually get it done.
But like make it a special moment,
Yes.
It's like it's one thing just to like sit down and watch a show, but like just say, this is something that like I really want to do, and I really want to sit here and watch the show and get your sparkling water or whatever it is that you want to, and just make it a moment.
I was just going to say, there's this girl that I follow on YouTube who does these like incredible mommy moments where she does like, she's like, I'm going to watch my show, but she's like, I got my brownie brittle and my like whipped cream that I'm going to dunk it in and like my sparkling water. And it's just like, make it like treasure yourself. Like in the same way that you want a lover to treat you, like treat yourself that way. Be your own best lover. And I love like the extra details like that. I think about that even with like taking on my makeup at the end of the day, like make it a moment, because that can feel, it's like stressful at the end of the day. I'm tired, whatever. But like Yeah, burn some incense, like make a moment.
I want to double click on that because, I have some friends of mine, like I'm so efficient and I mean, I could be ready to get out the door in like 35 seconds. And making time is crucial for me. It's very important that I learn this, but I have some friends that really, they make the time, they take their time and they have this they put things away. They take such care with themselves. And it's like, hello, Helen, make some time to just give yourself 5 minutes instead of 30 seconds.
I think, Helen, you're really guiding into what I think is the third thing. I was going to say something else, but this is really what I think is the most important thing is like be gracious with yourself because I think that I am so hard on myself. Like I will be like, why didn't I do just you going back to okay, so I scheduled the time for myself. I made it luxurious or I found the way that I'm going to do it. It's something manageable and then I don't do it or whatever the thing is, it didn't happen. And it's reminding me, have y'all read The Four Agreements? Does that book mean anything to y'all?
Yeah. I haven't read it in a long time, but I do have it.
I'm literally perpetually reading this book, but the fourth agreement is always do your best. And the idea is that as long as you do your best, and your best is different from moment to moment, but as long as you do your best, you know that you gave it whatever you could. And there's some days where you schedule the time for yourself, it was manageable, and then it just didn't happen. And being able to say, I did my best, I'm going to give it a try again tomorrow or the next moment or the next day, whatever. Just that grace is something that we are not socialized to give ourselves at all. I feel like we are socialized to give ourselves a hard time and be like, you're stupid, you're bad, why didn't you get that done? And it's just it's the luxury, it's the revolution to give yourself grace.
We need to be kinder to ourselves. We need to have a kinder inner voice with ourselves. It's something that we should practice because it's so easy to talk negative, have these negative moments.
And some people are go, 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 and there's seasons, where there's a lot, and you may not have all the time to make time. But I think when you land from that season, acknowledging okay, this is that season, and now we're done with that season, and it's time to get in it and really make some time to refill my cup or put my oxygen mask on and breathe again. It's so important to center and start again.
Literally.
I was just thinking about when you were saying about, getting outside, going for a walk and just around the block and that's enough. It reminded me of, how we've been told we must get 10,000 steps a day. Totally. And then we were told we must get 7,000 or we could get 7,000 would be fine. And then what was this bomb you dropped the other day?
If women walk 3,800 steps a day, which is really manageable, let's talk about how manageable that is. They're reducing their risk of Alzheimer's by something like 25%. So that is a big
That's
deal.
massive.
And I'm sure it has all sorts of other health benefits,
Yeah.
And so because the brain kind of just runs into everything else. It's good for your brain, it's good for your heart, it's good for everything. So not a lot, but I think and that's something that I do actually. If I'm working from home, if I'm having one of those days, during my lunch, I'll make myself walk down the block a little bit to this little meadow place where deer like to hang out in my neighborhood. And I try and get a glimpse of a deer and then I walk back, right? It's something that I do just to get outside for 5 minutes.
Literally.
I just love that it doesn't have to be these 10,000 steps, that we could really just simplify things. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Because when you think 10,000 steps, you're like, I can't get 10,000 steps, so I'm not going to do it today. But you could get, what did you say, 3,800?
3,800.
That's okay. That's so manageable.
It becomes so stressful just trying to fit into the box, just trying to check off the box and just to know that enough was enough. There was a line where it was enough. In yoga, there's a school of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, where it's you do a very specific practice every single morning. And it's amazing. However, on the day that you don't do it, it can be very mentally challenging just to even get back there, because you're like, I didn't do it, so now I'm bad, or now I'm not good enough. And it turns on this whole tidal wave of negative self-talk that I think is even more it's just more negative than anything else that we do. Like there's nothing that you could do to your physical body that's worse than going back to what we were saying about the brain being everything stemming from the brain, that whenever you have that negative self-talk, it just is like, it sends you all the way down the wrong path. So I think that just being able to know that, like, it's enough to show up. It's enough to do, just get outside, start with say even that it's just the starting point. Maybe 3,800 steps is your starting point.
Yeah.
And then you're aspiring to 10,000 steps or 7,000 steps or whatever. But like, that grace is something that if you are able to offer yourself grace, then you're able to offer it to other people. And then we're able to offer it to each other in a collective. And that's how we change the world. But it has to start on an individual level.
I'm one of those people where I think that I'm an all or nothing type of girl in my brain. So I'm like, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day with my husband. We're going to do the tonal. I'm going to get on the reformer. I'm going to do this every single day. Like, I have to stop that.
No.
Because then I'm like, okay, well, you just suck, Helen, because you're not like, triple like type A-ing your 5 a.m. most important time of the day. But it's like, maybe let's start with like once a week.
Literally. But I think that it's very interesting to me in practicing yoga and being a yoga teacher and having people say like, I really want to practice yoga every day. Like, I really want to have that practice. And I'm like, if you have a daily yoga practice, when you have a daily yoga practice, my heart goes out to you, because the only reason that that's happening, anyone who has a daily, any kind of physical activity habit, they are working out demons within themselves. Like, that's, to me, my yoga practice has come as a result of like, I have to do this. My life is at a place where like, if I don't do it, I will go off the rails. And I just feel like the mental health aspect, I'm glad that y'all are drawing attention to this, because the mental health aspect of it is way more important than any kind of physical activity that we do.
100%. So for people listening that are interested in making time to start yoga and they feel uncomfortable, not flexible, intimidated, scared, all the things, like, can you help?
Yeah, totally. Right. Well, what's so interesting is that yoga can be so simple, and yet it seems so complicated. And I think the biggest tip that I have is to establish a home yoga practice that you can then carry into any yoga studio, any yoga class all over the world. But once you have that home practice, you are finding the teacher within yourself and you're feeling more confidence. So the way to start your home practice, though, is to literally don't spend any money. Don't go get like the most expensive yoga mat or like the best yoga clothes or anything. Literally get like, I started with my dad's old Pilates mat, and I did just the yoga poses that I knew. So you don't have to like even take a class or find a teacher. You can just be like, I saw this picture on the internet and I want to see what's good with that. I want to try that out. And that's perfect. Just that's your yoga pose, and find a comfort and a curiosity in that. And then that will carry you forward, because what will happen is that you'll be like, this mat sucks. I have to get a better yoga mat. Then you get a better yoga mat, but don't spend a lot of money on it right off the bat, because then you're in this whole thing about like, well, I got to make sure that this works out because I spent all this money on it. But then once you have your yoga pose that you're practicing, then you're going to be like, okay, I need to take a class. I need to find a teacher. And I would really recommend YouTube is an incredible resource. There are so many free yoga classes on YouTube, so many yoga teachers. You can try out so many different styles, and you will find a teacher or a style that really resonates for you. I am going to wholeheartedly advocate for you, whoever is listening, that you should join the Underbelly. We will set you straight. But there are, an infinite number of yoga teachers and studios.
Is there a certain kind of yoga, type of yoga that you're doing at the Underbelly, or all different kinds?
So we primarily practice, it's a blend of like vinyasa and yin yoga, but there are a lot of different styles that we work in. There's yoga nidra classes. There are classes that are definitely like Kundalini inspired, definitely Ashtanga inspired, but we tend to focus on like hitting that yin slower angle and then also the yang faster high energy, and we use vinyasas to do that. But there's just literally for every single human being, and I would argue also, and could go a lot deeper about for every single astrological sign. We don't need to go there right now. But for every single human being, there's a different style of yoga that you will need at a different point. And the style that we do at the Underbelly is an excellent introduction for literally any kind of in-person yoga class that you'll go to. And that's really, I like to think of the Underbelly as an accompaniment for your yoga practice. So it's important to go out to classes and to have connections with teachers, especially teachers that can watch your practice and give you that feedback in real time. But it's also helpful in your home practice to have a reassuring, comforting, nurturing voice that can just be like a steadfast point that you can come back to. And that's what we offer at the Underbelly, is something to come home to. One other piece, though, briefly about like just how to start a yoga practice if you're like really intimidated. If you're like, I don't know what to do about this, and you're saying all this stuff, I'm not really sure what to do. If you have any space in your home, maybe you have to push some stuff out of the way. Just push the furniture out of the way, make a space for yourself, and practice child's pose or corpse pose. And just let that be your whole practice. And if you have a yoga mat, amazing. Get on your yoga mat, do that pose. And then once you get into that pose, you'll say, maybe I want to do downward facing dog. Maybe I want to do cat cow pose. But start from a place that's really manageable. And then you'll find the inspiration from there to keep going.
I love it.
Yeah. I used to do Ashtanga.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, and then Vinyasa. Because at that time in my life, I was probably like mid 20s, I want to say, that I needed to be doing something that felt like I could work up a sweat.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And you really can when you're doing a kind of Vinyasa Ashtanga practice. But now the corpse pose is really talking to me.
It'll do that, you know? It's something about the time on this planet.
I'm a restorative girl.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just give me a restorative class. I am in. Light some candles, turn down the lights. Me and my husband, and we do like I'll set out sometimes on Sunday nights. We'll make it a thing, you know. And
love that.
I love some restorative.
Yeah.
It's really important. Like restoration is, we live in a world that is so high paced and it's getting faster every single day. And there's a lot of anxiety just swirling in the world. And so taking that time just to ground down and get quiet is critical. And I think that if you are doing any kind of other exercise, which living is an exercise, but like if you do any other kind of exercise, like something I've recently started running, and we can have a whole other conversation about this, but like that just as a regular activity, I think is really great. And having like restorative yoga poses that you can do every week, every day, whatever the thing, every month even, it's just nice to be able to like pull down, reconnect with your breath, and then you can carry that into whatever else you do. Maybe it's running, maybe it's swimming, walk, whatever it is that you do.
So, Jessamyn, we always love to ask people that come on the Make Time podcast, what are you not making time for that you're going to commit to making time for today?
The thing that that's coming up just as an honest response is that I have a lot of projects around my house that I really want to work on. And I keep, I'm busy with all of the different projects of my life, my work life primarily. And I'm like, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. And it's just the most, like I recently painted my living room and then have just been like slowly redecorating it. And that process is so validating for me. Like, it's just very I'm really into Facebook Marketplace and like finding like these very specific items. And just that moment of like, I picked up the item, I put it in place, I'm moving it around. It's like arranging flowers, honestly. It's like it's just very soothing, and it gives me the validation that I seek in my work life, except it's just something that's only for me. But I deprioritize these projects because I'm like, oh, I have this other thing I have to do. So I think that's something that I would like to make more time for, is the time of cultivating my home space and finishing those projects and actually valuing the time that I have to myself in my home space. Because I think that it's really easy for me to devalue that.
Our home space is so important, right? Like it can really help your nervous system, and and when you're living amongst clutter or wanting to put things off. I mean, my office right now is just a hot mess, but it's a really busy season right now, so it's just hard for me to just buckle down to kind of do that, but I know I'm going to get to it. But I know that once I sort of clear that space, I'm going to feel so much better.
I mean, I'm literally looking over at a pile of stuff on my desk, to your point. And I just think and I think there's some pieces of what we were talking about before that I really want to leave here too, which is like that graciousness. Like I want to give myself that graciousness, of that grace of like, it's okay. It's fine. Yes.
You'll get to it.
It's happening.
I love that. I mean, it's something that I always told my daughter, was to give herself grace. And now I try and tell myself that frequently, because I think it's just so important that we give ourselves grace. I'm very aligned, and we need a lot more grace in our everyday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This was a beautiful conversation, Jessamyn. Will you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me at My Name is Jessamyn, and it's Jessamyn, Jessam like monkey, YN like Nancy. You can find me on all social media there, and you can find my yoga studio, The Underbelly, at The Underbelly Yoga, everywhere on social media. And you can use the code MAKETIME when you go to theunderbelly.com to get a free month of yoga with us.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
That. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, so lovely speaking to you today. Please come back and visit. And thank you so much.
Thanks for making time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope that listening to our podcast has empowered you to make more time for yourself. So make sure to subscribe, please leave a review, and share with a friend who could use a healthy reminder on the importance of making time.
And make sure to keep tuning in, as we will continue to bring on incredible guests to share their Make Time tips on our upcoming episodes. And come say hi over at Make Time Pod, or visit us at maketimewellness.com.
Until next time, make time.